Good morning, class. Today we will be starting with the next topic, immunity and its kinds. Now we know that every organism is surrounded by an environment that is full of microorganisms, organisms which we cannot see with our naked eyes without the microscope. That is various kinds of bacteria, viruses, fungal spores, fungi, protozoans, and these can cause diseases. They are disease-causing organisms. We also call them pathogens. Besides this, there are numerous kinds of insects like flies, mosquitoes. There are worms around us, and these can be carriers of pathogens or carriers of disease-causing organisms. In spite of being surrounded by so many harmful things, yet we do not suffer from diseases all the time. Why does that happen? This happens, or the reason that we do not suffer from diseases, is that the body has its own defense mechanism. Body has its own protective system by which it protects us from various diseases, various disease-causing organisms. And this system of defense is called the immune system. And because of this system, the body has an ability to defend itself from various disease-causing organisms, and that ability of the body to defend itself is called immunity. That is, the ability of a body to protect against diseases is called immunity. Immunity is of two kinds. One kind of immunity is called innate immunity or non-specific immunity. The other kind of immunity is called acquired immunity or specific immunity. Now, innate immunity is also called inborn immunity, which simply means that the body has a system of immunity right from birth. It is a part of the genetic constitution of a particular organism to protect itself from certain diseases. And this system is inborn. So it is called innate or non-specific immunity. And acquired immunity, as the word itself tells us, acquired means something which an organism has acquired during its lifetime. Now, before I explain the two kinds of immunities, let us just quickly summarize what I have told you. We are studying about immunity and its kinds today. Now, as I told you, immunity is the ability or the capacity of an organism to defend itself, or let us say to fight against diseases or disease-causing germs, what we also call as pathogens. And this immunity is provided by means of a immune system. So immune system is a defense system, or we can say protective system that is present in the body to fight diseases. Immunity is of two kinds. One is called innate immunity innate immunity is also called non-specific immunity. Non-specific means this immunity is against a wide range of disease-causing germs. This is inborn, that is present from birth. The other kind of immunity is called acquired immunity. Acquired immunity, as I told you, is also called is called specific immunity. That is, it is against specific disease-causing germs, and this is acquired during lifetime. So these are the two broad categories of immunity. Coming back to innate immunity, as I told you, this is present at the time of birth, is due to genetic constitutional makeup of an organism, and this is the basic system of defense in the body, by which disease-causing germs are not allowed to invade into the body. It prevents the entry of the disease-causing germs. So this is because it is preventing the entry and does not allow the germs to invade the body. This comprises of the first line of defense. We call it the first line of defense because it is not allowing the entry of germs in the body, and obviously this is because of barriers that exist in the body. When it is stopping, barriers means they are stopping the entry of germs in the body. So these barriers can be physical barriers, or physical barriers are also called anatomical barriers. That is, the body is made up in such a way, like we say physical barriers is the covering of skin all over the body. There are mucous membranes. Internal organs are lined with mucous membranes. Externally, the body is covered with skin. So these are the physical barriers which will not allow the body which will not allow the germs to enter the body, and the body will not suffer from diseases. The second kind of barriers can be physiological barriers. Now, physiological barriers are like acid in the stomach. You know, hydrochloric acid is a very strong acid present in the stomach, which will not allow the germs that have entered with food and water to multiply easily. They will be destroyed at that level in the stomach. Then we have tears. The eyes have tears which contain enzymes, lysozymes, which will kill the disease-causing germs. Then in the mouth there is saliva, which also contains the enzyme lysozyme, which will kill the germs. So these are the physiological barriers. Then there are cellular barriers. These cellular barriers means if the organism has invaded the body, there are white blood cells, leukocytes, basically the phagocytes, kind of leukocytes, kind of white blood cells called phagocytes, which will engulf the disease-causing germs, engulf the bacteria and destroy them, and will not let them multiply, so that no diseases are caused. So those cellular barriers are the third kind of barriers. Then there are cytokine barriers. That is the cells that are infected by viruses. They produce interferons, and these then protect the other healthy cells from getting infected. So the innate immunity, as I told you, is because of barriers present in the body that will stop the entry of germs in the body. So these are by birth barriers which stop the entry of germs in the body. Now, as I said, these barriers can be physical barriers. These barriers can be physiological barriers. Cellular barriers. And fourth is cytokine barriers. Now, by physical barriers, it is meant that the covering on the body, like the skin and the mucous membrane. The internal organs are lined internally by mucous membrane. The physical barriers are also called anatomical barriers. Physiological barriers are barriers like stomach has HCl acid, has hydrochloric acid, which is a very strong acid, and it will not allow the germs to survive. It will kill the germs. Then the mouth has saliva. Saliva contains the enzyme lysozyme, which will destroy the germs. Then coming to tears present in the eyes, they also have lysozyme. So these are some examples of physiological barriers which will stop the entry of germs, which will destroy the germs. And the third kind of barrier, cellular barrier, that is, if the germs have entered the body, there are specific cells. These cells are called leukocytes, or we also call them white blood cells. White blood cells, leukocytes, particularly the phagocytes, these will engulf. These are amoeboid cells which engulf the bacteria and engulf them and destroy the germs. It can be all kinds of disease-causing organisms. Then cytokine barriers, the germs, the viruses which have infected cells, that is the viral infected cells, they produce interferons, and these interferons then protect the healthy cells, protect the uninfected cells from getting infected, uninfected cells from getting infected. So these are the four main kinds of barriers present in the body which prevent the entry of germs. So all this comes under innate or non-specific immunity which an organism possesses at the time of birth. Then the second kind of immunity is acquired immunity, which a person acquires during lifetime. This is also called specific immunity, because specific means it is pathogen specific. It is pathogen specific. Now, if an organism has entered the body, there are defense mechanisms with which the acquired immunity will come into action, and it will supplement the innate immunity that is already present. It will be supplemented I'm sorry, it will be supplemented by the acquired immunity. And the body has a mechanism of recognizing its own cells, distinguishing it from anything that has entered from outside, disease-causing organisms, or even the toxins or poisons secreted by them. They will be rendered harmless. and that is called acquired immunity. And this kind of immunity which an organism has acquired during its lifetime lasts for several days, for a long period of time. And generally what happens that when any organism is attacked by a disease causing organism or a germ that is causing a disease, memory is initiated. That is, when it is attacked by an organism for a first time, disease will be caused. But when the second time, the first time the reaction which the body shows is called the primary response. But if the same microorganism attacks the organism a second time, there is memory. The body will recognize that microorganism and will not allow it to cause any disease. It will generate a different kind of response that is called a secondary response. So, immunity which a body has acquired during its lifetime is long lasting. And this is the concept of giving vaccines also. Vaccination is this only, in which germs are introduced in the body intentionally in mild form or killed form, or sometimes even toxins that have been weakened are introduced in the body so that the body generates a response. And once the primary response is generated, there are memory cells, and these memory cells will get activated when the organism is attacked by the disease causing germ or a pathogen a second time. So this is what is acquired immunity. So coming to acquired immunity, this is acquired during lifetime. And this is, as I said, is pathogen specific, and this immunity supplements the innate immunity. Immunity which is present from birth. Then I said this is long lasting. It takes time. It takes time for this immunity to be generated, and the body has a mechanism to distinguish between self and non-self cells. Or why? Because the cell surface has got glycoproteins, and these are recognized by the body as its own or as foreign. These glycoproteins present on the surface of cells are recognized by the body as its own or foreign, something that has come from outside. So based on this destruction of the germ, then I said when the response is generated for the first time, we call it a primary response. And the second time is secondary response, which is due to memory cells. And the concept of vaccination is also, vaccination and immunization means by providing vaccines, that is germs in mild form, this body generates an immune response. So we say vaccination and immunization is also based on this concept. I told you it is against a particular pathogen. Actually, these pathogens have antigens, what we call as polysaccharides or protein molecules or glycoproteins that are present on the surface of the cell. So the specific immunity, acquired immunity, is because of antibodies which are produced by the defense system, by the immune system from the lymphocytes. And these antibodies are very specific against antigens. The antigen word is a shortened form of antibody generating. That is, antigens, which are proteins or glycoproteins or polysaccharides present on the surface of the pathogens, is recognized by specific antibodies. And these antibodies either kill the antigen or they render it harmless. So this is like a lock and key mechanism, a very specific mechanism of antibodies to destroy particular kinds of antigens. And antibodies are globular proteins. They are also called immunoglobulins. So I told you they are specific, and specific is because antibodies are generated from the lymphocytes. Antibody, or we can say antibodies, are produced from lymphocytes, mainly the B lymphocytes. I will be telling you about the kinds of lymphocytes produced from lymphocytes, mainly the B lymphocytes, and these are specific against antigens. Now, what are antigens? Antigens are some proteins, or they can be polysaccharides or glycoproteins present on the organism's body, generally on the surface organism's body. Here we are talking in terms of pathogen, on the cell membrane of the pathogen or on the outer surface of the pathogen, and the antibodies recognize the antigens. The word antigen is actually antibody generating. Short form of antibody generating is antigen, and these are very specific against, the antibodies are specific against antigens, and the antibody antigen reaction takes place, because of which the antigen is killed or it is rendered harmless. That is, it is not capable of causing any disease in the organism. Now, the antibodies, these are globular proteins, and they are called immunoglobulins. Immunoglobulins, which are abbreviated as Ig. And these antibodies are produced by the lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are of two kinds. Acquired immunity is because of lymphocytes, and lymphocytes are of two types. They are of two types. These are the B lymphocytes, which are also called the B cells, and the T lymphocytes, which are also called the T cells. Both B and T lymphocytes are produced in the bone marrow. There are precursor cells that will synthesize B and T lymphocytes, and these are called the stem cells in the bone marrow. They form B and T lymphocytes, and this process of formation of the B and T lymphocytes by the stem cells in the bone marrow is called hematopoiesis. Is called hematopoiesis. hematopoiesis. So B and T cells or B and T lymphocytes are formed in the bone marrow. The precursor cells are the stem cells. Some of the undifferentiated lymphocytes, T lymphocytes, move to the thymus gland. And in the thymus, they form T cells. So, actually these T cells help the B cells to produce antibodies. They themselves don't produce, they themselves do not produce antibodies, but help the B cells to produce antibodies. And mainly the lymphocytes are produced in the spleen, in the lymph nodes. The antibodies by the lymphocytes are produced in spleen, in the lymph nodes, and the T lymphocytes are produced in the thymus. So actually the T lymphocytes produce cells, and so the immunity that is due to T lymphocytes is cell-mediated immunity, and the immunity which is because of B lymphocytes is in the blood, so it is called humoral immunity. So we have two kinds of immunity. Now I will just read out this to you. Types of cells in acquired immunity are two major types of granular lymphocytes. These are B lymphocytes or B cells, and T lymphocytes or T cells. Both B and T cells develop from precursor cells called stem cells in the bone marrow. This process of formation of B and T cells in the bone marrow is called hematopoiesis. Some immature lymphocytes are then destined to become thymocytes, which migrate to the thymus, where these cells mature as T cells. The B cells remain in the bone marrow and they mature in the bone marrow itself. The B lymphocytes produce proteins, and these are called antibodies, and since the antibodies are present in blood, this immune response is also called humoral response. The T lymphocytes do not secrete antibodies, but they help the B cells to produce them. Since T lymphocytes attack the antigens themselves, the immune response by them is called cell-mediated response or cell-mediated immunity. Now, after this, we will do the differences between the humoral cell response or humoral immunity and the cell-mediated immunity or cell-mediated response. Now, a humoral immune system is made up of B lymphocytes or B cells, whereas the cell-mediated immune system is made up of T lymphocytes or T cells. Now, humoral immune system defends against pathogens that invade the body fluids, whereas the cell-mediated immune system defends against the pathogens as well as the foreign substances that invade the host cells. Humoral immune system does not react against transplant and cancerous cells, whereas the cell-mediated immune response is against transplants and cancerous cells. That is why sometimes the transplants that is done in the form of a tissue or in the form of an organ is rejected by the body. It is not accepted by the body. So this was the major difference between humoral and cell-mediated immunity. Then we come to the next topic, that is the major differences that are there between the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes. It is an important topic from the board point of view. You will see when you go through the board papers, you will see that this question has been asked quite a number of times. Differences between B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Now, as I told you, B lymphocytes are part of, or they form the humoral immunity, or we can say humoral mediated immune response, and T lymphocytes form the cellular immunity, or we can say cell mediated immune response. One difference. Second difference, the B lymphocytes are processed in the bone marrow, and because of this they are called B lymphocytes or B cells, and these are processed in the thymus. They mature in the thymus, so they are called T cells, and these are because of the bone marrow called the B cells. Now, as I have already told you, the B lymphocytes release antibodies. They release antibodies or immunoglobulins, which are then released in the antibodies in the lymph, which then enters the blood. Whereas the T lymphocytes are whole cells that are going to directly attack the antigens. These are whole cells that attack the antigens. Then they defend the body against invading germs, that is bacteria and viruses, whereas the T lymphocytes defend the body against pathogens and also attack the transplants and their secretions. They also attack the transplants and cancerous cells, whereas the B lymphocytes do not attack the transplants and cancerous cells. So we have done the difference between the B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes, and based on this, or just before writing the differences, I had discussed the differences between humoral immunity or humoral immune response and cellular immunity or cellular immune response. So now on the next turn, I will talk about immunoglobulins, the kinds of immunoglobulins, the structure of immunoglobulins, and the immune system responses, and even diseases. So I will stop here. Well class, your half-yearly exams are very close now. They will begin from the 24th of August, and your biology exam is on the 28th of August. I have already told you about the syllabus, and as a reminder, you will be getting all 4 chapters of Unit 1, that is reproduction. Chapter 1 is kinds of reproduction or modes of reproduction. Then sexual reproduction in flowering plants, human reproduction, reproductive health. Then you will also get Unit 2, that is genetics and evolution. Chapters under it are principles of inheritance, then molecular basis of inheritance and variation, origin of life, and theories and evidences of evolution. And then the first chapter of Unit 3, that is biology and human welfare, Unit 3, and under it the first chapter, human health and diseases, which we are about to complete. Besides this, the general topics that we have discussed, abbreviations and their full forms, and scientists and their contributions will also be included in your half-yearly syllabus. Now coming to the pattern of the paper. This time the paper is going to be a combination of objective as well as subjective questions. Under objective, you will get a few multiple choice questions, a few one-word answers like name the following, fill in the blanks, true and false, and match the columns, or one-word answers, one-line answers, definitions, or very short answers, maybe 2-3 lines, and a few long answers. You can even get diagram-based questions. So prepare accordingly. The paper will be of 1.5 hours duration, and the maximum marks allotted will be 50. So I hope everybody is already in action. You are putting in effort, working hard to prepare for your tests and for your half-yearly exams. So good luck to all of you. Study well, take care, stay safe and stay healthy.